Hello, hello, and welcome to Pro NoCoders Office Hours, episode number 168. I am your host, Tonya, and I'm here with members Thomas, Boye, Ben, and Reece, and my Kim. We're going to get started in a moment, but first, I just want to make sure you understand what office hours is in case this is your first time tuning in. Essentially, we do this 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And we just added a sixth session on Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. So that's 6 times per week that we meet for office hours. And essentially we invite our members onto our Zoom, which we broadcast live, and then they're able to ask us any bubble question that they want. And we do our best to answer. We don't have all of the answers, but we promise you won't suffer with your question alone. And we do get it right most of the time. So if you would like to join us for office hours and ask your bubble questions, you can sign up at pronocoders.com. It's just $99 per month, and you get access to 6 sessions per week. Let's see here. We're going to get started now. I actually have an answer for Boye. One of the additional benefits of being a Pro NoCoders office hours member is you can ask us questions in Slack. And Boye asked me a question yesterday, and I watched your video, and I think I have the answer here for you. So we're just going to go into the same thing we did the other day. I forget which day that was. Was it Monday's session?
It's a Monday, yes, yeah, Monday.
Yeah, so if you want to catch up on what we're doing with this page, you could go catch the session from Monday, which was episode 165. So, okay, so this is a purchase order scenario. And essentially, I think what you were asking me for, I see what happened. Last night, I broke it. And I was like, why isn't this working? I broke it because I moved that out of the group. There we go. Okay, so essentially what happens is we click here to make a new purchase order, and then we have Autobinding operating on the purchase order name here. Then we click to add a new purchase. And on Monday, as far as we got was just being able to change the name of the new purchase, which is would belong, like you're creating a list of purchases that would all be pointing back to the same purchase order. What I did was I added new fields for the items. So I created a new data structure. So I added PO item, and a purchase order item has a name and an amount, right? And then on the purchase itself, I added a reference to the item. So it's item of type PO item.
Okay.
And then I added a quantity, which is a number, and a subtotal, which is a number.
Okay.
And then, I don't think I changed. I didn't change the purchase order. The purchase order still just has a name. So the hierarchy here is the purchase refers to the purchase order, and the item refers to the purchase. So,
okay.
Then we come here and we select an item. I created in the database 3 items to choose from just to populate that drop down. So item 1, 2, and 3, each one with an amount 10, 20, and 30. And then here's where you would enter the quantity, which is going to be auto-bound onto this purchase. And then I had to do some sneaky stuff here in order to get this input to work. I created a group here of type number, and I made the data source the multiplication of this item's amount by this quantity that was entered here. Okay. And then the group grabs that number and populates this field, which is auto binding to the subtotal.
Okay.
I'm wondering if it's auto binding or if I had to do something else.
Yeah,
I did.
I was wondering, Tonya, what is it? The auto binding that is causing the issues in it? So again, I was thinking, is it necessary to use is the auto binding making it more efficient?
The reason we're doing auto binding and is because getting the information out of this table when you're updating here and changing values here. If you wanted to grab that information on a save button, you would have to use a plugin and in order to get the information out. But if you're using auto binding, it works really well. So what I was doing was when the input quantities value is changed, I'm making changes to the purchase order, and I make it the subtotal equals the group numbers number. Now I had this working yesterday, and then I went back and I was testing and it wasn't working, and it's because I had accidentally moved that group out. So hopefully it's working again. So let's go here to the users, and I'll run here. Oh, first I'm going to go and delete my data here because I have a whole bunch of purchases. And then a whole bunch of purchase orders. Okay, we'll start with a clean slate. So here we're going to do a new purchase order. We'll call this first purchase order, a new purchase. We're going to choose item 1. We'll do quantity 1. And when I click out of here, that's when it changes it in the database, and you can see this total is happening here. That part I forgot to show you. So the total part, this is just searching for the purchases where the purchase order equals this purchase order. So I'm searching for all of the purchases in the purchase order, and then I'm taking their subtotals and I'm adding them together. So I search for a list of things, I take all of their subtotals, and then I sum them together, and that's how I get the total. Yep. So then if I add a new one, purchase 2, item 2, quantity 2, you see it adds it up. I'm gonna do a third one. So that what you were looking for, Boye?
Yeah, I think this works without the plugin, right? Because as you said, the only other way to save, but just for clarity, right? The plugin, do you have an idea of the name of the plugin?
Yeah, there are a couple of them actually. I can show them to you.
Okay, so, that would be great.
Yep, one of them is BDK repeating group tools. Hopefully I spelled that correctly. Yeah, so this is one of them is orchestra. And the other one is repeating group tools. I think either one works, honestly. Orchestra is free. I think it might be a little bit trickier to use. I've used it successfully once. I need to play around with it a bit more to become proficient. Yeah.
But the repeating group tools is better.
I found it more intuitive.
Okay, that works then.
Yeah. So, yep. And then I will copy, I think, did I copy this into another app to share with you?
No, I would like to get the backend workflows of this. The other time you just showed me a video, but if I can get,
I'll copy this into an app that's on the free plan, so I can make the editor public.
Okay, thank you. That works for me. Perfect. Just one other question, Tonya. You know the button that says new purchase order, right? Now, if I want to have this button on a different page, right? Then referencing to this page, you have a workflow that says display purchase order in the group. So how will I manage that?
So when from another page, you would just have to know which purchase order that you wanted to assign the purchase to.
Because each time I check it, I couldn't reference, because when I put this new purchase order on a different page, when the thing was, the workflow was go to page. No, the workflow was create new purchase order first, then I now did go to page. Now, the other workflow was because what you did here was create new purchase order, then you now did display purchase order in the.
If you, I think I understand where you're coming from. So from the other page, I would click a button and the purchase order doesn't exist, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then what I would do is actually I would set this page to be of type purchase order. Right. And then when you navigate to this page now, when you say go to page purchase order, it's going to require that you send in data. So basically a purchase order to the page. So then you could take this part out completely and then just reference the page's purchase order. And what you would do is on that button click on the other page, you would create the new purchase order.
Yes.
And then send it into the page.
Okay, create a new purchaser and display it.
So I can show you what that would look like. So it would be if I create this button here, right? And then on here, on this button click, go to purchase order. I'm going to create a nav. First, I'm going to create a new purchase order.
Yeah.
And then I would navigate to this page, which is purchase order. And see how it turns red here? It means I have to send in data, and I would send in the results of step 1.
Okay. Okay.
And then what I would do here is I would take this button off. And then this would be current page purchase order. And then this would be input A. Yeah, because it's going to reference the parent elements thing, which is the purchase order. So yeah. So now instead of clicking this button up here, which creates a new purchase order into the and puts it in this group, you could put this button on a different page. And when you click this button, it will send a new purchase order into this page and you can start fresh.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
All right. That works. Okay.
Okay. Awesome.
So yeah. I think this sorts out my problem. I can go back to building. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Tonya.
You're so welcome, Boye.
So I guess I'll get the link after the session class. Yes. I guess. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Kim will remind me, and I will send it to you after office hours.
I will send you a reminder on Slack now. So that.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you very much, Tonya.
You're welcome. Hey, Matt, welcome. And Reece, I saw you came in as well.
Hello.
Hey.
We're going to go to Ben now, but we'll be to you both shortly.
Hey, so I am trying to finish off just the messaging section of an app.
Okay.
And I just had a quick question. Where I want to, when I go into the messaging section, how to set an initial state so that it's actually showing some information and isn't just empty. So it's maybe showing the first one.
Okay. So yeah, so on that button click, you would be able to you could do a couple different things. You could use display data, or you could set a state that group is referencing.
Okay.
Which way would you prefer?
Whatever you think. That doesn't bother me.
I think since we can display data, we don't need an extra state for it. So when they click on that messaging icon, then you already have that. Before that, step 1, I would add a new step. And it would be display data. It's from the element actions under group. Yep, and then we'll just need the name of that group and we can display the conversation or whatever you're calling.
The name of this group or this group?
Then, so you're looking for the group that's displaying the messages of the conversation that's chosen.
Sorry?
So I assume that group is of type conversation, or is it something else? It's messages. Okay. Yep, then that's fine. So you want to do the data source. So display in that group.
It's not coming up. It's weird.
That. Oh, it's a repeating group. Is there a group around the repeating group?
There is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one we want. And then the data to display would be a search of the conversations, probably the last one modified. Or how is the repeating group of the conversations on the left? How is that set up to choose which one that's up at the top?
Last modified.
Last modified. Okay, so yeah, so you could just copy that data source and then paste it in there. And then you would want the first item. There you go.
Oh, by the way, that data came in at midnight last night, which is awesome for all we work on yesterday.
Love it when it works.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I mean, the timekeeping on Bubble's backend is impressive.
Sweet.
I once set a recurring, yeah, is it working?
I'm not sure my mouse is playing that. I'll check it and come back.
Okay. Awesome. Let's see here. Reece, you're up. Reece, are you still with us? All right, we'll come back to you, Matt. Are you here?
I am, yeah. I was
Okay.
I was just saying hello / checking out what was going on. I haven't actually joined a what do you call it?
In office hours?
Office hours. So
Welcome. We're happy you're here.
Yeah, I had problems and I think they're sorted. But I do have another issue, but I need to replicate it. So ignore me for the moment. I'm just lurking.
Okay, lurk away, no problem. No problem. Reece, are you back yet? We do share our cameras in after hours. I think we're a little shy on regular office hours because after hours we stop broadcasting live everywhere, and then we all like loosen up a bit. So if you want to come to after hours, which is a members only thing, you can sign up at pronocoders.com. All right, Reece is still not here, so I will circle back. Ben, it looked like it worked. Is that right?
Sure did. Yep.
Yay.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. I guess we're going to come back to, well, I'll just check in with Thomas, make sure he's still good. Okay.
I'm okay.
You're good? Okay. I hope you're feeling better, by the way. And then Boye, you get another turn. Do you have anything else for us today? No? All right, I guess I gotta come up with some content real fast. Ben, do you have something else?
Sure do.
Oh, perfect. Oh, that's right. You said you had a list for me that you made the other day.
Yeah, I started a list because we had a session the other day and it was just you and I, and we'll ended up just chatting for an hour.
Yeah,
So-
that's awesome.
Uh,
That was Thanksgiving. I spent my Thanksgiving with you.
Oh, geez, really? Why would
It
you
was
do that?
awesome. I appreciated it.
All right, so I don't know why my mouse has decided to stop working.
Thanks, Matt, for stopping in.
So we just set that up, obviously, so the first one comes on here, but now it won't change when I click on it.
Aha, okay. So so when the workflow, when you click on the repeating group cell,
Mhm.
then we want to display data in that same group that you copied and pasted before. So instead of setting the conversations state, I think you're going to, yeah. So
So delete
instead,
that.
you'll display data in that group, and the data will be the current cell's conversation.
So I should delete this.
You know better than I do if there's more than one implication for that state.
Oh,
But
I don't know.
if that state is just supposed to be like the reference of that repeating group for like what it's supposed to be showing, or the group, what it's supposed to be showing, then yeah, you can probably delete that state and just instead display the data in that group.
Oh, it's too early for this question.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Well, then
Is
don't
there-
delete it. Just leave it because it's not going to hurt anything.
Oh,
So
okay.
just add a element action display data.
Yeah.
And it's going to be that same group again. You probably still have it saved in your copy paste. And then the data to display is going to be current cells conversation. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Let's have a little look. Hey. Awesome.
Sweet. What's next?
Is there someone else? Just
Yeah, let's
Boye,
just check
you
in.
back, or
And anyone else have any questions? Hey, Kim, would you mind messaging Reece on Facebook? Just letting him know he's up.
Sure.
Thanks. Ben, go for it.
Okay, cool. I installed this plugin as per everyone's recommendation, the reverse repeating group,
Okay. Is it the paid one or the free one?
the paid one.
Okay, nice.
Uh,
That's definitely the way I would go with that one.
After that session that, I can't remember who, was it Jay or was it?
Thomas was showing us the fancy one that's like really difficult to set up.
Yeah, it was just insane. I couldn't work it out. But what I wanted to find out was, when I go onto a group of messages that has kind of a long series of messages, is there a way to actually show the latest message instead of it having it hidden? Because at the moment it's showing. the
Wait, so
first
you
message-
have the reverse repeating group already, right?
Yeah.
So it should be when you are scrolling down, it should actually be scrolling up on the page.
So that one.
Roll it, moving down. No, you had it right. Moving down scrolls up.
Yeah.
And then let's see here. But that didn't go back and show me on the page again.
See here.
So
like,
you're at the top.
it's right. Like this is a month ago and this is 2 days ago. And that's how I want it, like the latest at the bottom. But there's actually more messages there and I have to scroll down instead of actually showing me the latest message, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. I'm just like surprised that it's not doing that. I guess, what is happening? Let me think really fast. Do I have to do something else to tell it to go down to that? Because it should start there. It shouldn't be
Yeah.
showing the one at the top. That's the whole point of the reverse repeating group, is it should be showing the one at the top. You didn't happen to have any kind of scroll actions on this before?
No.
No. Okay. Hang tight.
Okay.
I'm going to, I can't share my screen, but I'm going to go figure something out real quick. So. Oh, I know, I do have it in a sandbox. I can share my screen. Never mind.
Woo.
Let me log in real fast. I can't believe it took me that long to, oh, nope, it didn't work.
I can't believe
Is
that's 23
anybody
days till
else,
Christmas.
does anybody else get frustrated with the logins, like with Bubble? Like, it doesn't remember all of the different emails for the like email section. It only remembers like
ever
3
logged
out of
out.
my 10 or something. Oh, I have to log out and log into Bubble a lot because of my AirDev one. So let's see here. Pardon the wait, everyone. I just have to authenticate my way into Bubble. Find my sandbox. There it is. Okay. So reverse repeating group is somewhere around here. Floating group, date picker, home screen. No. Might just do it again. I think it's this one. No. Uses element. What's that called? RG. No. Okay, we'll just build it again. Why not? Let's go. I always go to backend workflows instead of add a new page. Reverse repeating group.
Is that wishful thinking that you were just constantly in back end workflow?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I just love working in backend workflows so much. I just do that. Okay, so, oh, and you're building in the new responsive editor, so that might make a difference. So I should change this. Make sure we're comparing apples to apples. Thanks, Bubble. So we'll do a repeating group. We're going to give the repeating group an ID attribute. And then we're going to do this reverse repeating group here. Call it RG. We want to scroll bottom to top. Didn't yours say something different?
Yeah, mine says moving down scrolls up and moving down scrolls down.
Okay, let's make sure we're using the same plugin. I'm using reverse repeating group.
That's the free one.
This is, oh,
Isn't
see here, then maybe I'm not using that one. I'm using a different one.
it?
I don't see any other ones.
Yeah, I'm using the same one.
Okay, you are using the same one. Okay,
Yes.
I'm like way far behind you probably. Which version are you on?
1.12.0.
Okay, cool. I've upgraded to
The
that
latest one.
version. And so RG, but it still says bottom to top. Why would it say something different on yours? That's weird. Let me refresh the page. Oh yeah, I broke it. See? I was like, I knew that wasn't right. There we go. Now it says the same thing. So moving down scrolls up. Okay. So then, yeah. And then here, I know I have some sample data in here. Lots of rows, data source, do a search for test data with lots of rows. I will do text here. Okay, and we'll preview. Okay, so that's not enough rows. What did I do wrong? Fixed number of rows. I don't want a fixed number of rows. Okay, so this is some text. So that just looks like it's doing what it normally does, like scrolling down on the page, which is not what we want. Moving down scrolls up. So RG, so I think maybe it's not compatible with the new responsive engine.
Okay, so I'm not going crazy.
You're not going crazy.
Hey, first time.
Hey. Oh, the first time, the first time you were diagnosed as sane.
Yes, exactly.
Got it. Got it. Hey, Callum, welcome.
What's up? Happy Wednesday, everyone.
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah.
We'll come to you in just a moment. We're gonna take
Yep.
Reece right now. You have a question, Reece?
Hey, yes, sorry. I stepped away from the computer there for a minute.
No worries.
I have a Stripe question, actually.
Sure.
It's sort of my first time integrating it. And all I really want to do is create a recurring subscription for people on the platform that I'm working on.
Okay.
I actually caught your stream from yesterday and you said you guys are abandoning Stripe now because you're having too many problems.
We're kind of mad at it, actually. It kind of like it tried to rain on our parade of our launch of the vault over the weekend is what happened. The regular Stripe bubble plugin, which has worked phenomenally well for me in the past. It is probably just a bug. They will probably get over it. But it was not storing the customer ID in the database after creating a customer, which meant that our workflows didn't prevent people from creating a second customer with their same email address and name in Stripe and allowing them to create a second duplicate subscription. So that happened twice over the weekend. And so we have refunded the money, of course, and made things right with our new subscribers, but that's not the way you want to like go out into the world. So with a new product at all. So we have Eli is going back and doing everything in the API connector. When he's done with that, I will study it, and I will probably do a members only Zoom session for Vault members and office hours members and go through the integration. So
Okay, cool.
you guys can see what the calls are like, and we can actually copy the calls over to your apps and things like that.
Okay, but we're still okay to proceed with my question.
Sure.
Yeah, cool. So I am working on a platform at the moment that requires a reoccurring subscription to members to access their courses. It's a skill-based platform. I'm just wondering, how do you create the plans without creating the plans in the back end on Stripe? Like, how do you set it up so each person just sets their subscription fee and then you automatically subscribe to that for a month?
So you don't want to use the products in Stripe, you just want to charge their cards?
Yeah, on a monthly basis. But I noticed that when it comes
I
to
love this question. No, that's a great question. I'd be happy to show you.
Okay, fantastic.
So I will move out of this one and back to this will be the first question for the December sandbox. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the plugin, and I will try to use the bubble plugin for this. Stripe bubble plugin. So just install. And then we'll create a new page. We'll call it subscriptions. This was Stripe. I'm not cloning anything. And then I'm going to stop sharing real quick because I'm going to sign into my sandbox Stripe. Okay. Okay, so this is my sandbox Stripe. So I'll just create a new account on it and we'll call this sandbox. And by doing that, I'm automatically in test mode. So I go down to, where's it going to give me my stuff, developers? Yeah, so now I have a test key and secret key. So I'll just copy that and come into the plugin. And I'm going to put this on here and take the secret key and put it here. Okay, so now I should be able to use this plugin to populate data in the test mode of this test account. So then the next thing I want to do is I want to go to here and do checkout 3 instead of 2. In some countries, I think you have to, by law, use their checkout. They have updated this. It used to be that we didn't use this one because you couldn't store a card on file to charge, but now you can. So going to the page itself, the first thing that you have to do when you want to charge somebody's card on file is you have to have them add the card on file. So I'll just have a button here. And I'll just say add card. And the workflow is very simple. You just come to payment and then say, collect the user's credit card information. So when they click that button, it's going to take them over to Stripe and have them sign up with their information and then send them back, I think. And I don't think there's any more to it, but let's just test.
This is for a user who's purchasing and not a seller who's signing up, correct?
Right, exactly. I'm going to add a card. It's going to send me to Stripe. I'm in test mode, so I can use test numbers, which is, if you want everything to run like a normal card charge, you just do all 4 twos across. And then you have to do an actual not expired expiration date and then any 3 numbers you want. You can put any name you want. And then click the save the card. It's going to process. Then it's going to direct me back to right where I was, and I'm going to get this pop up that says your credit card information was successfully saved. You can turn this off in the settings and create your own better looking like process or whatever, or just populate, because what just happened, just so you understand, is Stripe has taken the email address of the user that I'm running as, that was sent into Stripe. They used that email address and the name that was entered in the form, and they've created a Stripe customer ID. Now what I want to do is I want to put that customer ID on the page to make sure that it's there. So here, I'll just, because that was the part that we were having problems with, is the current users. So when I say that it's now in the database, what I mean is the bubble Stripe plugin, when you're using it, it adds a whole bunch of fields to your user that you don't see in the user data type in the database. The only place you see it is when you can access it here. So in this case, I can say I want to see the Stripe customer ID, and then I can put a space here, and I want to look for like the current users Stripe credit card, and I want to see its last 4 digits, right? And just see like preview. So that's my customer ID, and that's accurate. Those are the last 4 digits that I entered as the credit card number. So it's working. So that's good. Now I can charge that card. Essentially, the customer gave me permission to charge their card according to our agreement, whatever. So now what I can do is I can say, add another button that says subscribe. And this is where things get interesting, because now I'm going to need to create one of 2 things. First, I think in order to use backend workflows, I'm going to have to upgrade my account here.
Are you still able to do this on a professional plan, or you need to go higher?
No, you're able to do it on a professional plan. Are you on a personal or professional?
I think in this case, because this is for another person, it'll be professional.
Okay, so the professional plan will allow you to run things as frequently as daily, I think. If you were on the personal plan, the most frequently you could go with a recurring workflow would be 1 month. It's not a problem either way, because we can always do recursive workflows to achieve the same thing.
Okay. Sorry, I might have been thinking personal, not professional.
Okay, so yeah, so but is the subscription a monthly basis?
It is, yes.
Okay, then it's pretty easy to use a recurring workflow. So I'll show you that. And then if you want to see it done with a recursive workflow, I could show you that as well. So, click here to add a backend workflow. We're going to select new recurring event. And the event name would be monthly subscription. The type of thing, I'm assuming it's the user who's subscribing, but you could choose something else if you wanted. But I'm going to pass in the user because the user is the one with the Stripe credit card. So it's easy to make that association. And then the action will be here under payment. I'm going to charge the user using a saved credit card. The charged user will be the current workflow user. Current user would work just fine for that as well. Let's say the amount's going to be 100. I don't know if I have to add 2 zeros here or not. We'll see what it ends up charging. The currency in my case is going to be USD because that's what I set the Stripe account to be. Description, test charge, testing. I want to actually charge, so I'm not going to say authorized charge. I'm not sending this payment to somebody else. The card ID to charge is going to be the current user's Stripe credit cards ID. Now, if you want to create an invoice or you want to do any other kind of like system accounting where you like make sure that you know that the person's credit card was charged, you're going to want to check on the status of the thing. And that actually requires if you wanted to check the status, it would require an API call, but I think we can skip that because if it doesn't generate a charge object ID in step 1, then we know that it's failed, essentially. So if you wanted to put some kind of check or balance here to make sure that you're alerted or the customer is alerted if it didn't work, you would just say if the result of step 1's charge ID is empty, then that's when to raise the alarm. If it's not empty, then it was successful, and you could save that, say like an invoice data type that you create, right? So now I'm just charging this 100. I can't remember if it's in the API calls or if it's in the Stripe bubble plan, if I have to add zeros like and include the last zeros in order to get like an even $100. So we'll test and find out. Now I just have to actually kick this off. So I'm going to go back to the subscriptions page. And I'm going to go back to the subscribe button. I'm going to set cancel a recurring event. The recurring event is going to be the monthly subscription. The workflow thing is going to be the current user, and the frequency is going to be monthly. And the start date will be current date and time. Right? So if I preview, oh, this is a bug in the agency plan. I don't know why it keeps making us do this. You have to go and click on the general and populate this page, and now it will work. Okay, so I know I'm logged in as the current user with the card on file, so I'm just going to click this subscribe button. And then I'm going to go into here and I'm going to look, you saw that jump up, right? So I come here and I look at customers. You can see the one customer that I have signed up earlier this morning. And if I click in there, you can see a $100 charge was successfully charged. Now you won't be able to know that that's a recurring charge from Stripe because you're doing the recurring part in your own app. But what you can do is you can go into your logs and into your scheduler, and you can show the scheduled events, and you can see that on January 1, at 11:49 a.m. my time, this recurring event is going to run again, which will charge the user's card again.
Yep, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I was. This is why I was a bit confused, because I thought the recurring part would be done inside Stripe itself, and so.
You could do it inside Stripe.
But you have to have a certain amount of. You have to have preset subscriptions, though, right?
Yep, and that's not hard to do either. And that's what we moved to. So the reason to do that, Stripe has obviously figured their ish out, and they can do things like prorating and canceling and all of that better than you can on your own. I was charging subscriptions for co-creative no code myself using a recurring workflow like this, but I was only doing monthly, right? I didn't have any kind of annual subscription to do it. And I had to build my own proration system because I had 2 different tiers of subscription. So when my user would upgrade, I'd have in the middle of their billing cycle, I'd have to figure out how much they had paid up to that day for the original subscription, how much they would owe for the rest of the amount of time at the upgraded subscription. And I had to do all of that math myself, which was very, very complicated. And then when we added annual subscriptions on top of that, I was like, oh, nope, I just need to use Stripe for this instead. So depending on how simple or how complicated your subscriptions are, you might decide to go with Stripe subscriptions. It's a little bit tricky getting those API calls for the proration just right, because the natural way that Stripe does things is it will upgrade the user subscription, but it won't charge them immediately. It will charge them on their billing date of their current subscription, and they'll just charge them the new amount and the amount that they owe from when they upgraded. That's not how I like to do things. I like to charge for the upgraded amount when you start having access to the upgraded stuff. And then, and that way, like, I'm not hoping that you stay a member until that renewal date. You know, that's our agreement, is you'll be the member until that renewal date. So you go ahead and pay for it. Right. And then another thing that I don't like about the natural way that Stripe handles subscriptions, so you actually have to add an API call to get it done correctly, is if they downgrade or if they cancel their subscription, but mostly downgrade. If they downgrade their subscription in the middle, then they won't, nothing will happen monetarily until the end when the subscription renews. They'll give them a credit for all of that time automatically. And it's like, no, that's not how I want to run subscriptions. I don't give refunds for like if you downgrade in the middle, you have the access to your current subscription level until the end of the month, right? As opposed to refunding the section of the month. So, yeah.
Yep.
You're a raging capitalist, aren't you?
I am. So it's terrible that way.
With the reoccurring part, was that done using the professional or the personal? That you
So
just
you
showed?
you could use the recurring with the personal plan. You can have recurring events monthly.
Okay, great. And just a follow-up question to that, regarding the canceling of the subscription, are you able to show us how that's done?
Sure. If you want to cancel the subscription, so you would need to have a field, probably, I'll just use the user as an example. So we'll add to the field here, subscription API, like API ID. And we'll just make that a text. It could be a number. I think the IDs are numbers. So in the logs, you'll notice that this has an ID of 4107.
Mhm.
You need to store that. So let me just go into the logs here. I'm going to cancel this and go back to the design, the workflow actually. Here, I'm going to make changes to the current users. And it's going to be that subscription API ID is going to equal, well, it's not doing it because I think, because I have it set as a text. Let me try it as a number. Oh, that's weird. If I was scheduling an API workflow, it would have result from step 1 here, and I could store that ID number. But with the recurring, it looks like, okay, so what you would do on an unsubscribe button with a recurring, as opposed to if we had done it as a recursive workflow, just say this is unsubscribe. We go here and we cancel a recurring event. And that's how you'd cancel it.
Oh,
So
okay, that's simple.
Yep.
Yep. So you wouldn't even have to go any further than that.
No, so you just subscribe and then you can go in and check in the logs and make sure that it's subscribed here. And then if I want to cancel it, I just click unsubscribe and I come in here and I show and it's gone.
Yeah. So also my understanding is that each person on here also has to have a Stripe account if they want people to subscribe to them. Is that an easy process to set for them
It
to set that up?
depends. It depends. Do you want to pay them out immediately or do you want to hold the money until a later date?
Pay them immediately, preferably.
Then yeah, it's pretty simple. So what you would do is, hang on just a second. Let me check with Callum and see. Callum, did you have any questions today?
I do, but you can finish off on this
Okay.
one first. Go for it.
It shouldn't be too long. So what you want to do is have a button where they sign up as a seller. It's also in the payments section here. Register the user as a seller. The difference is in your Stripe account, you actually have to set up Connect. Connect is what they call the accounts of users who are registered to sell on your platform, but your platform is sort of the primary account that things are running through. And then this Connect accounts are kind of sub accounts. So
Yep.
let's click here. We'll have platform or marketplace. And then there's more to this. They changed everything around. Let's see here. Connect settings. So the Bubble Stripe plugin only works with standard. It does not work with Express, to my knowledge, unless they've changed that. So you have to go with standard. And then set up payouts. Yeah, that's right. And then card payments, business things. So what we're coming down to is we need this ID to put into our plugin as the client ID. You have to be very careful. This is a huge deal. It has cost many, many, many hours. Did you see what just happened? They put a space in front of it and that will break it. So I make a big deal out of it because I have personally spent maybe 3 or 4 hours of my life on that little space right there. So
Okay, sure.
Well, once you get that in there and without the space, now you can set up connect accounts, and you can say OAuth for standard accounts, because if you're using the regular Bubble plugin, and then you have to add a URI, and I'm hoping that my computer will remember what that is. Let's see here. I think that's it. All right, so now that we have it set up, then on this page, sure, yeah. I want to go in here and add a text here to show the current user's Stripe seller account ID. So I'll sign up as a seller. I'm going to skip this form. And I come back to the page, and now I have a seller ID. And that's what you're going to need for this next part, because when they click subscribe, so I'm going to need a new user for it. But when they click subscribe and they go into that recurring workflow here, you're going to say the payee of this transaction is another user. And then you would send in the payee information. So you're not going to send money, like the same user is not going to send money to themselves. So you wouldn't do this in real life, but just for purposes, I'd say current user, and then the app fee, you can determine how much of that you're going to keep for yourself here. And I think if you follow the reference, it should tell you how to format it. It's a number, and but it treats it, I think, like a percentage. So like if you want 1% or 2 or 10, you could enter it here. Then when you charge, it looks different in there. So let me make a second, let me think how I want to do this. So current workflow users. Seller of type user. And then I'll create a new user. Hopefully it won't kick me off of the platform. So if I run here, no, it won't let me stay on there because I'm using Canvas and I didn't sign up properly. All right. Yep, let's run here. Okay, so let's, I broke the app. It's
Not
like,
playing the game.
no, you can't do this. We won't let you. Let's do on here, log out button. So many buttons. This is not good design, by the way. Don't do this. I know I don't have to tell any of you that, but log the user out. Okay. sign up. That's what I want. Okay, I'm gonna go to data. Now I can run as this user. I want to sign this user up as a seller. And then I'm going to add that user as the user seller. So here. So I'm going to come in to the logs. So that's fine. So I'm going to run as this one. This one has this one stored as its seller. And what I've done in the backend workflow, the recurring workflow here, is when I charge the user for their subscription, that $100, the test charge, I'm saying for the payee to be the user seller, which will be the second user that I made, and to take this amount off here for the app and keep it in the main thing and use this card. So now we'll just go and test with, make sure we use the right one. And I'm going to subscribe. And then I come in here and I say customers. We still have one customer. Now we should have another one. No, it didn't work. So let's go see in our logs what happened. Started running event, recurring event frequency monthly. Okay, so now it just took it a second. No. Well, that's weird. It didn't come back with an error or anything. Usually it would come back with an error if it didn't work. So I'm not sure what's going on. But that's the idea behind it.
Yeah, no, that's enough. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. That's perfect.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I think this will be a very common question for a lot of people. So this will help a lot of people in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tonya.
Hey, no problem. We are going to wrap up our office hours section. We're moving into the after hours section of office hours. After hours are for members only. So if you would like to join us, go sign up at pronocoders.com. It's $99 per month. You get access to 6 sessions per week, and we can help you answer your bubble questions. We will be back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. with episode number 169. I hope to see you then. Thanks everybody for watching.
Peace out.
Thank you. Thanks, Tonya.
Yep, no problem.